Hi, Paula. Thank you so much for
Hi.
joining us on the Bamboo podcast, all the way from Mexico. It's an honor to have you, and I'm so curious to learn more about your work with bamboo on the other side of the world, in a different place, but maybe a similar context. So, Paula, maybe we can start. If you could tell us a little bit about your work as a bamboo architect and how you got into using this material, and what led you to start Bambufolia.
Well, I am gonna talk in we because it's Nico and me that we start this January together. And Nico is my partner. And I finished my architecture studies and I was working in a typical building company. And by the time I just realized that it wasn't my thing, and I was kind of worried after 4 5 years of studying and just
Mm.
wanted to connect with nature and doing farming and other stuff, And so a neighbor of us chopped a clump of bamboo and just gave it to us. And we started doing fencings and small things, but the bamboo wasn't treated, wasn't cut in the right timing, wasn't like all right for using, So at the end, everything that we built, it was rotten and all fall apart. And Nico decided to went to Veracruz to took a course of bamboo. Where there, Veracruz is the place where we can find more bamboo here in Mexico. And we start like doing small things and trying to learn. And when we realized about bamboo, I just decided to quit my job and we decided to start traveling. I knew about green school already, but by then it was in 2012.
Mm.
And I knew that I wanted to go there to see the buildings and to know a little bit about that. So we decided to travel to New Zealand, where we got the connection again with nature. We started a lot of volunteer and working and stuff just to get enough money to can start the traveling. And when the time was right, we went to Bali and we did like this 5 days course in the Green Village. And when I went in that place, I just knew that the bamboo was the thing, Like I just get like this connection again with the architecture and with the creativity mood, and I was so excited to know that it will be a connection between the material that I use for building, the plantation, the moon cycle, like all together, like as a community. So I will say that, yeah, like being in Bali was a whole inspiration for us. And after that, we just start traveling around Asia to know more and more about bamboo. We went to Myanmar. We did hikes around. We were sleeping in bamboo huts, sleeping in bamboo mats, like seeing the people using all the bamboo tools, and we just start getting more in love and love with the material. And then we decide to went back home. And when we arrived in Mexico, we found out that to get bamboo, it was like it was really expensive. The transportation was more expensive than the material itself.
Mm.
So if
Yeah.
we wanted to, I don't know, to just get temples to do something, to play with the material and stuff, it was really expensive to do it. So Nick and me, we decided to start cutting the bamboo and treating the bamboo. So it was kind of tough at the beginning because we were doing the whole thing. No, we were looking for gardens around the city to have bamboo clumps around, and just like knocking doors and trying to get bamboo. But it was really really tough. And by the time when we have the bamboo ready to design and to do something, we were just like tired, of that.
Done. No more bamboo.
So yeah, I remember one day that I just turned around. We were like loading bamboos in a truck, because also all this work we did it ourselves, Nico and me, just Nico and me all the time, because we didn't have a lot of money to hire someone or to start like a whole company itself, with all of these uh, requirements that you need, So we just say, okay, let's do it step by step, slowly.
Mm.
But then we found out that that wasn't the way, definitely. And well, it's the way if you wanna like just play or do something in your house. But if you wanna like start doing projects for different people, it's really tough. So we decided to save money and to get our
Yeah,
first
I mean,
container of bamboo.
but it sounds like that taught you a lot, even if it
Yeah.
wasn't what you would, ultimately could. It wasn't sustainable in the sense eventually you had to change, but it sounds like it taught you a lot in the beginning about the material and about what the possibilities were. So is Nico also an architect?
No,
And or is
Nico
he?
is
How do you guys work together in your practice?
he's an engineer design, but he loves the
Ah,
construction side, and he goes really good along with the guys, and he likes to be just like building and getting all the tools, and his parents are architects, so he has the architecture right in himself, like.
so it's like you're like the perfect power couple. He's got the engineering, you've got the architecture, and he understands you because his parents were architects. That's great. Amazing.
Yeah, actually, he was skipping to being an architect, and then we become couple, and then he just is doing architecture, and he's just like, okay, the dilemmas of life.
So wait, so he was in architecture school with you, or he?
No, he was in different school, and he finished his engineering design. But
Ah,
after like all our work that we have done in Bambufolia involves a lot of architecture, of drawing and plans and designing and materials and choosing, different things. So at the end, he just like developing his architecture that he already had in his soul, in his day living, to say it in a way.
amazing. So I definitely want to talk about Bambufolia, but before I do, I'm curious. How did you get from Mexico and trying it all yourself and going from very simple things to your first major project? What was the first project where you felt like, wow, like now I'm a bamboo person. Like now I build bamboo buildings.
Well, we were traveling a lot also and volunteering with different projects. So we kind of were already in the construction side and knowing a couple of things. But I just start posting in my social media. No, I like bamboo. I do bamboo. I went this part to do bamboo, and somehow Conscious Impact found me. Well, I know how, because we have a friend in common, and Conscious Impact is an association that started building houses in Nepal after the earthquake in 2015.
Mm.
So they order a bunch of bamboo, and Mariana just say like, oh, let's contact Paola and let's tell her to come over and to build with us. And when they told me that, I was just like, oh yeah, let's do it.
So
Like I
this
was really happy.
this was after the earthquake in Nepal, right?
Yeah, this was in 2017, I think. 2018, I will say. 2018, because we already had Bambufolia going. And Bambufolia we started in 2017.
Okay, so conscious
And
impact brings you or you have a connection with conscious impact and they're doing work in Nepal and they see that you're excited about bamboo in Mexico and they're like, "Okay, let's ask Paula to come and help us with our project."
yeah, so Nico and me, we did the whole project before went to Nepal, and we talked with an engineer to make sure that everything was right. And when I arrived there, I found out that the material was all crack. it was exposed to the sun for a month, and most of the poles, like 70%, they were cracked. So our
Mm.
designs were with round poles, and we couldn't do it anymore, you know. But I was with Jetlong a year before in the Woodford Festival, and we weave a lot with Jetlong. He shows us the weaving, he shows how strong it can be. So I was like, okay, let's just split all this bamboo and build a huge basket, no? So we redesigned some stuff, and I just talked to the engineer. He was just like, okay, this is gonna work. You know, the wave is really strong. So just do it. You're gonna put grass roofing, so it's gonna be light. So uh, don't worry, no. And it was a whole challenge because, well, we were working with masons from Nepal that they
Mm.
barely speak English, and we were working also with volunteers. So it was also tough, you know. And the closest construction shop was 8 hours far away. So you
Oh.
could like you had to ask for every screw that you need, you know, because otherwise it will take like 3 4 days to go to Kathmandu and come back to the mountains in the Himalayas, no? So so it was really challenging, I will say. But at the end, yeah, I learned a lot by that experience. First of all, I will say to order my own material. Yeah, to don't let anyone to give me bamboo, you know, to make sure like go to the plantation, make sure which species it is, how they treat it, and then okay, we just can say okay, let's build, you know, not just don't know any conditions at all, and just say okay, let's do it, you know. So I
Awesome.
will say that was the first project that brings me a lot of knowledge. I'm
And did,
still learning, I will say.
I think we're all still learning the bamboo. It it has a way of keeping us humble. Um, so
Yeah.
I'm curious. How big was this building in Nepal? Like in terms of size and in terms of like and function. Like what was the reason for picking this material, right? Because it sounds like you're in the Himalayas. It's a very different context, and I'm just curious about like what were the workers like. I mean, in some ways, like when you're telling me this using round poles versus splits, if you're in a context where they don't have the skills to carve the bamboo, maybe splits, maybe it was a blessing, in disguise,
Yeah.
in some ways. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
I
wasn't
will
there, but
say.
but I'm curious. Can you tell me a little bit more about the actual form, the structure, and how that contributed to the community?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of bamboo in that area, in Takure. And they use it for the day living. Like they eat it, they have all the crafts and the tools, and they know how to use it. Like they know how to make a split. They do baskets also, like beautiful baskets. So the some masons were skilled already, I will say.
Mm,
This building was 10 meters diameter and was a common space.
mm,
And it was like 9.5 high for the 45 that you need for putting the touch
mm,
roofing.
mm. Yeah.
And yeah, it was really inspired. Like for me, it was just inspiration, you know, because I went there to work with people, to tell the people how to work with bamboo, and they already were expert with bamboo, you know, because like they could do it with their eyes closed, almost like in Bali, you know.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So there was a strong
But
culture, like a crafts culture already. But had they
yeah,
never have they had they ever made an actual building or like a grid show like
no, no,
this?
no, they never made an actual building. When we were building it, they were just laughing about it, like it will be like a big area to put the cows inside, you know, because they just use it to do fencing for the animals and stuff. So the people will just pass and laugh about it, like, oh, look at what they are doing, you know. So it was like to show them that you can treat the bamboo to make it last. And then Conscious Impact start using bamboo to put roofing in some houses because they have this tin sheet, no,
Mm-hmm.
um, for roofing, which is really hot.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
how
To
do you call, like
insulate
the
the roofs.
metal?
Yeah, yeah, the zinc
So
or
we
the
put the bamboo
corrugated. Yeah.
under it to insulate the roof. So it was really beautiful to see because at the beginning the people was like, "Oh, I don't want bamboo, it's for poor people. Like I don't really like it." And after to see the structure and to see it, like they start liking it, and this woman was like, "Okay, maybe I want it in my house. I want it as a roof in my house." And we were like, "Yeah." So yeah, I will say that that's what I like more about bamboo, like this community connection. No,
And
that
do you feel like it do you feel like making that community center out of bamboo was based on was it based on for the organization that was helping with it and who had you come out and wanted to help that community? Do you think it was based on principle, or was bamboo just like the only material available that they had at that time that they didn't need to truck in for 8 hours?
No, it was the intention of Conscious Impact because later on we did a bus stop also made out of bamboo. And I mean, first was the common space, then the bus stop, because the bus stop is something more from the community. So the community needs to approve it, and the community don't like bamboo. So it was a whole steps to make the community like bamboo and to see it in another way and to let them know that it will last.
Yeah, it won't get eaten by bugs. Yeah, that makes sense. And so you do this in Nepal, and then you had and was Nico with you in Nepal, or were you on your
No,
own?
I was in my own. They just paid the tickets and everything for me. But Nico was staying here to keep with Bambufolia because we had a couple
Ah,
of
so
projects going. So we split. Most of the time we split to can have two projects around, no?
yeah, that makes sense. And then so you come back to Mexico, and it sounds like Bambufolia has already started. So tell me a little bit about your work with Bambufolia and your transition into professional design and construction work in in Mexico. I've seen a few of your buildings and your designs, but maybe tell me a little bit about where you draw your inspiration from to build for you and Nico to build with bamboo in your current location. And you said you stay in Guadalajara, but you're doing your actual projects in Capala, right?
In Chapala, we are doing our first project there, but mostly of the time we work by the coast, by the Pacific Ocean.
Ah, okay. So you're
And
basically all over. You've got projects all over the country.
well, mostly this area, like around Middle East, and bamboo goes really good with the coast, like for decoration and for roofing, and
Yeah.
they use
Okay.
a lot of palapas there, so it
Mm-hmm.
just matched perfect with bamboo. But yeah, then I went back to Mexico, and little by little, I will say just sharing the work and having the bamboo each day in our hands, and just keep going, keep going, keep going. It was just becoming more clients. At the beginning, it was my mom, my cousin, my friend, the friend of the friend, like they were just like, "Oh, they are playing with tiny sticks, so give them some job," like poor guys, like.
Oh, poor that. We have to help
Well,
them. It's
I don't know if exactly four of that guys, but like, oh, my mom was like, okay, build my fence from my garden, like to make you busy.
build
But
my cow
then,
shed.
yeah, but then was like mouth to mouth, and then social media also help a lot, and little by little, the people start trusting us. The people start like knowing, okay, they did this, they did that. Well, maybe they can do this, and start giving us. It was a lot of furniture at the beginning, a lot of furniture, fencing and small roofing, for the terrace. Actually, we're still doing a lot of small roofing, uh, and it works pretty good to keep the guys busy and to keep, like project going if we don't have like a big project. So I think we take every project with professionalism. It doesn't matter if it's a small fence. It doesn't matter if it's a hanger. Like, we really like to bring the bamboo in another step, like more aesthetic, more well done. Take care of the details. So I
Mm.
will say that helped us a lot, and knowing how to do it. Like, I mean, we are still learning. I say it again, but like traveling to Colombia, going to Australia with jet lag, going to Asia, going, here and there, and just like looking different ways, working with different bamboos, like touching it, to get different solutions, because when you want to make a curve, sometimes you use a torch, no fire. Sometimes you put it in the water, but what will be the best? Well, just doing it every day is what tell you, if the bamboo cracks, if the bamboo splits, if like the skin of the bamboo, like if you want to keep it, if you want to take it out, like, yeah, just
Step
focusing
by step.
focusing that's what you like, because I mean, I already experienced the other hand of the architecture, and I knew that I don't want to do that, like I was like, okay, I don't want to do that, so I'm just gonna focus in this, and at the end, if it doesn't get resolved, well, I still young, I just look for a job and do my life, no. Always was that in my mind, like,
Mm.
just try it, no? And
Yeah, it's
getting a few jobs to maintain Bambufolia also in the term where we have enough projects so that people can start trusting in us, because it's all about that.
yeah. So did you find that was an issue to because so it sounds like you kind of have you look for big projects when you can get them, but in order to support the kind of the business on a month by month or week by week, you also do a lot of small installations, furniture pieces, roof maintenance jobs. And try and bring a higher level of quality and trust to that, which in the construction industry, uh, trust is king. I think a lot of people, that people will pay a little bit more, and in order to make sure that it's going to get done well. So what out of all these projects, what do you feel has been the most challenging one in terms of teaching you, now that you're doing professional projects? What has been one of the most like challenging or difficult ones that has brought you to another level in your work?
What will be? I think the more challenging thing was to get good material,
Mm.
because at the beginning we just ordered the poles, and then arrived these poles full of termite or junk poles, and you are just like facing the client, giving like a warranty, to make it believe that bamboo is a good material, and then arrive that, and you are like, okay, what we're gonna do, and
Oh
then
yeah.
talk to the producer and just tell them, okay, this happened to the material, what we can do now, and they are like, oh, we cannot do nothing, I'm sorry, you already paid, no. So it was about finding those plantation that we can trust, that we know the process, that we visit, the plantation, to know how are the bamboos, how old is the plantation, to know the family or the people that is around that plantation, so to believe that we can trust in them, and that we
Mm.
can order, and then that we can invest our money. So I will say that was more of the challenging that we have, like to get bad bamboo, like in bad conditions.
Yeah, it's a big it's a hard day when you build something and a client trusts you, and then it's
Yeah.
getting eaten by bugs. And so how do you make sure now, because like here our solution was like we had to treat it right, like you give us the bamboo, especially in the now. Now it might be changing, but in the very beginning, it was very clear. It's like we have to treat the bamboo. Like give us the bamboo, we'll treat it, and and that's it. And if it's not our bamboo, then we're not using it. And I'm curious how, because it sounds like you started very organically and started very small and grew, step by step. So what? Yeah, how do you make sure that your bamboo is treated now?
Well, first of all, visiting the plantation, to select our poles and to know what material they're gonna send us and to make sure that they send us that material.
Yeah.
And when it arrives to our workshop, we do that turmeric test with
Oh, the
acid.
Walter Lise turmeric test.
Yeah, and it helps. Well, you are not totally sure which is the percentage of borax, but you know that it has a high level of borax, because of the color. So we do that, and also, well, the people that we work with, and we start like getting some knowledge to know, okay, this is a young bamboo, this is a 4 or 5 years pole bamboo, so it's good to use it. So we start like seeing those difference and selecting the material since arrived. No, okay, this is poles for beams, this is poles for columns. Okay, this is so material. This is junk poles. No, and so when we choose it already, we know how we can use it. No, in which part of the structure it can be part. So
Mm.
yeah, I will say that we trust in those two methods for now, but we are looking forward to treat our bamboo in the site. Like we really we need a big project to do that, so to can pay all the expenses that involves doing it, and to can have the people like to leave the
Mm.
bamboo there and to take it out and just do all the process before. But I will say that that's the way to do it. To make
Awesome.
sure, totally sure that your material is well done.
Yeah. So if the project's a big one, you'd want to treat it on site. But it sounds like you've managed on some level to create strong connections with a few bamboo suppliers, and make sure that they're giving you bamboo that you can trust. And then you're employing really simple but clear tests that at least will tell you, does it have boric acid or does it have borax in it or not. So that's really interesting. And I'm just curious, what type of bamboos, how many species are available to you in your projects in Mexico, and how many different types of bamboo have you used? Like in terms of,
Oh,
do you know what kinds they are? Like, is it
yeah,
mostly guadua or?
we usually use 5 species. Like we usually order wild Bambufolia, Bamboo Hami, Philostachys aurea, which I would say that that's our start material, that because it looks really good and we torch it, so it changed the looking of the bamboo that usually the people is used to.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And we use Madake also for substructure, for designing stuff. And we use Chisquian, which is a really thin bamboo, for the small details. And so that's the main 5 bamboos that we use. But yeah, I think I have worked with more, because with Jetland we work with Moso in
Yeah,
Australia,
uh-huh.
and Nepal was Bamboo Sanutan. And then we went in India, and that was Balcoa, Bambusa Balcoa. And in Colombia, well, the Wadwa. So a couple of species, maybe like 10
Oh wow. So
around.
you've worked with 10, but in your work in Mexico, it's you have 5 that you kind of go to, and
Yeah.
Philostachys aurea is your main bamboo. It sounds like because that's what people, expect maybe as being a bamboo. We have that one here too. It's interesting. But we use it, it's very expensive here, so we use it only in certain contexts.
Oh,
Um
really?
Yeah. We don't, because it's not, you're in a different latitude, so I think you have a actually like a different range of possibilities, which is interesting. Do you find that these different species that you're working with, have they have they been used traditionally in Mexico, and how does that, because you mentioned your work in Nepal, there's already a strong bamboo culture. I'm just curious, what is the local bamboo culture like, and where do what is your relationship with the workers, and the craftspeople that you employ, and how has your work influenced the local perception of bamboo for like the general population who you're employing to kind of help you make these things happen?
The local bamboo that we have most is sotate, which is kind of like a solid bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
There is a commercial plantation that they have it in San Luis Potosí,
Uh-huh.
but we haven't had the opportunity to use it yet. I don't know. Maybe the circumstance is another way to use it because it's really solid, so the units are different. So we've been slowly using it in small things, but not as a main material because the craftsmen that we have are not used to that bamboo.
uh
But we're gonna work in a project in Oaxaca that all is otate, which I am really excited about it, and we're gonna have an advice from Jaime Peña, which is really cool, because when we don't work with that kind of material, or that kind of bamboo, or like different techniques, we always like to have a supervisor to tell us how to do it, because
mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you just if you are not humble enough to recognize in which point you can get in a really serious problem. So I will say that that's our main thing. Just go slowly, step by step. Don't take every project just because you have it there. Be humble enough to know where you can go.
Yeah.
And I
A-
will say by now it's becoming really cool because we are building a really good team. So we are starting to trust more and what we can do. Like the workers are happy, we are having good communication with them. So all the ideas can come to life because like you do the plans and the design, but when you get there, like the curvy of the bamboo and the direction and the dimensions and like a small things, you really have to give the essence of the project to the workers, so
mm-hmm.
say they know what final product do you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the time when you start getting connection, they already know how Bambufolia work, how what we are looking for, using the bamboo. So I will say that step by step, slowly by slowly, building a good teamwork, it's what it can take you, to do good things and to make sure that you are doing it good.
Yeah. And where did you find the workers in terms of like, because correct me if I'm wrong, but there wasn't a whole lot of people working with bamboo in your area. Like you said, your mother was like, well, please make my fence, uh, when you started, and now you're building full scale structures and in multiple places and countries, and so where do you find your workers in Mexico, and a lot of the time we have people and they're asking, oh, I have lots of bamboo, but nobody knows how to use it, right? Or, oh, they're all telling me it's too complicated work. So what was your journey? Because you really started from doing, unloading the bamboo yourself, from the truck. Um, how did you find workers who were capable to work with bamboo, and what skills did they have before work with bamboo that kind of helped to develop them? And like you're saying, it's still a journey. You have one bamboo that sounds like it's being produced in a more industrial way, and your workers don't know how to use it yet because you've been using the other bamboo. So I'm just curious, also for our listeners, like how did you manage to find workers, and how do you deal, because everywhere in the world, including Bali where we have lots of workers, finding good bamboo craftsmen is never easy, right? It's always a challenge.
It's been the whole challenge of this January, I will say. Uh, at the beginning, we hire a guy that doesn't know anything about bamboo, but he was really into eco buildings, and he was kind of like into carpenter, and he wanted to learn. So I will say that the first thing is that the person that you're gonna teach want to learn, want to have that skill, like, and that is motivated and interested in that. But in this time, uh, we went to Puebla, and in Puebla, in the mountains of Puebla, this governor gives a lot of plants of bamboo to everyone,
Ah,
giving bamboo, 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 bamboo. I mean, everyone just have it in the yards, and they have the small plantations. Some have hectares, and they don't know what to do with bamboo, because there is not an industrial that treat it and to do it. And so we went there, and we met Ivan, this guy, that we did this connection, and he was working with bamboo from long time, and he had like his friends that also they work with bamboo. And I was just like, oh, do you wanna come to Guadalajara when we have big projects, and just like work together? And he was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So we started making this match, which is being really beautiful. I will say that the bamboo pad is just beautiful coincidence, that allow you to keep going. So meeting Ivan was a big step for Bambufolia, because he already knew how to work with bamboo. He was in love with bamboo, like, but in love, like he's a bamboo setter from heart. So that's really beautiful. And he had these friends that he's been inviting to work with bamboo in different things, and they live in this mountain, and they want to work with bamboo. So we were like, okay, when we're gonna get projects, and let's just do it together. And yeah, that happened last year.
oh wow. So
So it was a big change, because then we could start getting bigger projects. We could start doing good budget, because when you don't have skilled people, you say, it's going to be ready in a month. But then bamboo is just so different and so full of details that maybe take you like 3 months, no? So the budget just triple. So when you trust your people, you know that you can give a good budget to your client, like, and that everything is gonna be good, that you can give a guarantee, because the guarantee, I will say, that is a whole trust for the client. Like, give the guarantee that, okay, we're gonna do this. This is the draws, and it's gonna get done like this. No, this is the renders, blah blah blah, and I'm pretty sure that it will last. No, and we're gonna do maintenance. But if you maintain it good, it will last. So to say it in that way, we give a guarantee of 1 year, to say that in 1 year they have to maintain the structure again. And if they hire us, we give another year of guarantee. And that's how we keep the buildings in a good conditions, and making sure that it all is good and well done. Or if something happened with a pole, we change it, or things like that, no? Like, just to make sure that everything goes good, or maybe you make a mistake, and in that maintenance you can change it and make it better, and that give you another learn, from that experience.
very cool. And so this, it sounds like meeting Ivan, was that his name? Ivan?
Yeah.
Meeting Ivan really transformed your company's capacity, and he just happened to be working with bamboo in Puebla because the governor had decided that that was a good thing to give away. I mean, I wish I knew why this governor. He sounds like he's like the secret bamboo champion. Um,
Right? He put a lot of plants of bamboo, and now they are like 10 years, 12 years old, you know, this
uh-huh.
clumping. So they are ready to use, and the people are ready to sell it, and they are just like, where I can sell it, you know?
Wow, we really it's good. This is a good lesson where you better go start planting the bamboo now. If you're out there listening, if you love bamboo, you don't have bamboo where you are, start planting it right now and make a plan, a 10-year plan to start building.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the way.
Amazing. And so my last question, you touched on clients, and I mean, like any construction or architecture practice, clients are super important because you need them to continue. And obviously, with bamboo, you're really asking people to take a risk, right? You're asking them to come on a bit of an adventure with you. If they just want, if they want the same old reliable thing, maybe go with the concrete. But if you're almost inviting them to join a process that is a little bit risky. So what's your approach usually with clients to enroll them in understanding both the possibilities and the risks?
I think to be serious about what could happen, you know? Like to
Mm.
tell them just like the good things and the bad things and what they gonna get from if they take that risk, you know? Because mostly of our clients, I mean, we haven't had a client that is building his house, you know? We have more clients like from hotels, from tiny village, from small things in the house, but not building the house itself.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So we invite the clients to take that risk because the tourism is gonna like it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So when they see that, and I will say that your family inspiration around the world and in the social media had helped a lot because they just contact us. I want to do something like this, no, like Ibuku. So it helped us a lot, and that's what we are looking for more. I will say like more course, more organic, to take the material to the level what you can take it, you know, with this flexibility, with this strong. So we go to the client by that side, no? Okay, we're gonna do organic shape. Look, bamboo is natural, it's a natural resource. We talk about our engineer, we talk about our team. We sometimes take them to different projects that we have done so they can see it because they want it in that way, you know, they want to see it. They want to see that is real, that is not a picture in Instagram that it just lasts 1 month and then the next month is all gone, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say we take them to different projects. But as I say, everything is a step by step, you know, because before having one construction, we couldn't take any client to anywhere, you know? So they just have to trust about our word and I mean, life just give it to us. You
And
know, like,
how did you convince the first one before you had an example?
or I will say that our first cool project that we like, it was a whole challenge with this curved roof, a manta raya,
Uh-huh.
and it was at the coast. And then a friend called us, hey, I have a client and they have money and they want something really cool and with a good design, and I just told them about you, and the clients trust me, so don't worry, they're gonna let you build, you know.
Wow, this guy really put his neck out for you. Oh,
But
amazing.
by then he knew that we were volunteer here and there. He knew that we were already 4 years kind of going, coming, and doing
Hmm.
things, and So he was saying just like let's do it, let's do it in a professional way. Let's get an engineer. Let's do this. Let's get the material right. Let's visit the plantation. Let's like all you need for that budget to make it happen. The clients were totally like open to okay, do
Let's
it.
do
Don't
it.
do it. Let's do it the way you have to do it. So
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the best kind of client. If you look at buildings like
yeah.
Sharma Springs, and some of these bigger buildings, it really requires somebody special who's really willing to join, really trust you and join you on the adventure of making something incredible. Um,
And loving the bamboo, no? Wanted to use the
yeah,
bamboo as a
yeah,
material. That's the main reason.
yeah, and loving the bamboo. I mean, yeah, I think that's a given. If you don't love it, there's no reason to do it. My last question is really a little bit different. It's related to you took the online course over COVID, and I'm just curious, how did that and like you said, we are definitely really interested and focused on inspiring people to take bamboo to another level. So how did the online course influence your work, and did it change anything or help you to understand what you currently do to another level? And yeah, and what are your dreams? What are your dreams for the next big project with bamboo?
Well, I will say yes. It influenced a lot in the way we design. I mean, we always have been inspired by your family, and to be immersed like these 2 months just watching videos and talking about bamboo and having live sessions and just like bamboo like over COVID, like you need to keep motivated,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
always
Yeah.
need motivation. And I will say the way that you guys do it is just amazing. I really like it. Like I enjoy it a lot. It's like a family, like a welcoming. It's like okay, everyone can do it. It doesn't matter the position where you are, and I think that's the way to do it. I mean, bamboo is hard. I will say it's hard, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also novel. It's a novel material.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about experience it every day, and that's what you say in your course. In resume way, I mean, and also reminding all the information, and in this live session, we learn a lot. And I would say that the thing that I like more about Bamboo U is the network, the net connection.
Mm-hmm.
Like you finish the course, bye, but you can still log in the platform, asking for things, like the project that we are doing in Chapala, we start developing in this course. Like just,
Mm.
the first steps and everything. Then we took it to an engineer, but that was it's a whole inspiration. And this January, I will say, is all about keeping motivated.
Yeah, totally. It's a fine line between inspiration. Work with bamboo is a fine line between intense inspiration and despair.
And
uh,
I mean, I'm looking forward to go to the 11-day immerse course, like
well,
I really want to go, like.
yeah, we can't wait to have you. And so what, there's a lot of people out there who are listening, who may have been in a similar position to you, a few years ago, where they were in architecture school. They realized that conventional architecture wasn't for them, and that that they found bamboo and they're really interested in doing something with it. What advice, if you had to go back and meet yourself before you got into bamboo, what would you tell them? And how would you what would you tell people who are at the beginning of their journey?
I would say travel a lot, travel to the places where you can find bamboo, keeping that goal in your mind, like okay, bamboo, and just travel and meet people that have done different things with bamboo, and when you feel a little bit more confident, just get treated bamboo and just start doing something, even for your own, even in your room, just like touch bamboo every day, and it will happen because the people is getting more into this material. I mean, it's becoming famous little by little, and as more we are, more demand and more offer will come. So I will say just take the step, uh, build a net, build this network, build this net with bamboo friends that always will support you and help you, because I think that's the main thing. And everything will come. Everything will come.
Thanks, Paula. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your work with bamboo.